Hi everyone, a huge welcome. It's Janice here. Hope you're all doing well again and thank you for joining in. So I've mixed way too much resin. I wasn't thinking when I was measuring it out, and I think I ended up pouring about 140 grams. So I've got enough to do a little mold as well. So you're going to need your white pigment paste. You're going to need some of your alcohol inks. And of course, you're going to need to make sure that your molds are 100% level. Otherwise, your bloom is just not going to work out. It's not going to be nicely centered. And I've got my little piping bag ready. So if you haven't got piping bags, just use a plastic bag. They work fine as well. So I'm just decanting this. My resin's been standing now for about 15 minutes. And I'm just going to decant some of the resin into that little cup. And I'm putting in about 2 drops. You don't need a lot of the white pigment paste. And then mixing it well. And I'll put that into my piping bag. And by the time I've done that, my resin will have been standing for about 20 minutes. So like I always say, your resin may not be the same as my resin. So just do a few little test runs and see the time your resin needs to stand for. It may only be 15 minutes to get a good bloom. So all resins are different. But your resin needs to be slightly warm when you pour it into your mold. And as it is poured into your mold, it starts cooling down, and that's what causes it to contract towards the middle. And that's what gives you your petals and your inks pull towards the center. It's the resin cooling down. And then I just used my heat gun to get rid of any of the bubbles. So I'm using a pink and a violet and a purple in this one, and in the other one I used orange and some of the violet. And then I just took my white pigment paste, and I just wanted to try something a bit different. I wanted to see if the petals would come out a little bit more spiky. And you'll notice there that there were 2 quite big blobs, so I needed to make sure that I pulled those out. Otherwise, they were going to just sink straight down to the bottom. And just a little twirl in the middle. And then what I did was I put the camera on a time lapse So you could actually see how it pulls in towards the center, and how the white paste kind of spreads. You can see it happening there. And then I just covered it and left it to overnight to cure. And they just looked so nice. I was so excited because I thought, no, you know what, these are going to come out so beautiful. I was really, really excited, and you'll see what happened. So I was thinking of doing like quite a dark pink on the back. So I've got 60 grams of resin there. And I put the pink in and I started mixing it, and it just looked a little bit too bright for me. So I added a bit of black mica powder as well into it. And I actually really liked the color that it made. It was like a deep grapey kind of grape color, plum color. It actually was really nice. But the pink just looked, it just looked, I don't know, it was just maybe just not the color I'd had in mind. It actually is a beautiful pink. And I will definitely use it on the back of a bloom. But I really like the color that this made. So, you know, don't be scared to mix your mica powders, because sometimes you get these gorgeous, unexpected. So it was just that pink and the black that I mixed together. And then again, I just used my heat gun to pop any of the bubbles, and I covered and I left overnight. Oh, and I was very excited to demold. But it didn't quite go as I planned. But like I always said, I'd show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So here we go. So this one, I wasn't too disappointed with it. I actually quite liked it. I kind of got the effect that I was looking for with the spiky blooms, and it's quite pretty. It's okay. And I like the color on the back. So this one wasn't too bad. This one was an absolute disaster. I hated it. It was fussy. It was just too much. The orange was too dark. It was just a disaster. But it is what it is. You get what you get. That's it. So there we go. That's both of them. One is okay. One is okay. I'm quite happy with it. The other one, hate it. Absolutely hate it. There's a few little blotches there, but not too bad. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.